I'm Noea Moss. My name is spelled kind of funny, but it's pronounced Noah, like the art. I'm a financial advisor, so basically I help people save and invest money efficiently. I cover, when it comes to financial planning, I cover all different areas and arrays. Areas I can cover is retirement planning, business planning. So that covers a whole bunch of things. Like if you're owning a business, depending on what phase of your business are you in, are you growing? Are you kind of more slow steady, or are you looking to sell the business or retire? I can help with all phases of that. I help with estate planning, just building wealth, things like that. So today I figured I would focus on retirement planning, just because I think it is something that's relevant to not everybody, but most people in the world. And I really just want to talk about where are the places you can save and invest for retirement? How do they work? How are they taxed? And then also if you are a business owner, because I think we have a lot of business owners here, where can you put money to set aside for through your business to make it even more tax efficient? So I'm going to get into all of that. I also will have my chat open. So if you have a question while I'm talking, please unmute yourself and ask, or put it in the chat, so I can answer it while we're going. But I also will leave a little bit of time at the end for questions. But honestly, I'd prefer questions just as we go. Makes things simpler. So I'm going to also share my screen. I'm actually going to do a little bit of drawing for everybody today. I don't have the best handwriting, but I do like to draw. So don't judge me when my lines aren't straight. And actually, I'm going to delete that. Okay, so this is a little portion of a talk that I do quite often, just about all the different places you can save and invest and how they work and how they're taxed. But today, just for the sake of time, I am going to focus specifically around retirement. Because again, I think it's relevant to everybody. If you want to see the full version of this talk, let me know, and we can set aside like probably closer to 45 minutes to get through everything. But here we are. So, all right, retirement at the top. Thanks, Heather. I like it. I think it's really powerful. I find that the full version is, it's just something that everybody in my opinion should know about, just like what we're going to talk about. I think everybody should really know and feel like they can control their own finances and do it themselves. But in today's world, unfortunately, that's not always the case. But okay, so let me set the stage. So when we are saving and investing for retirement, there's two main buckets you can save and invest into. There's a bucket called the Roth bucket, and then there's a bucket that I call the traditional bucket. The main differences between the two is how they're taxed. So there's three ways you can get taxed when you're saving and investing money. The first way you can get taxed is when money goes into an account. You can get taxed on that money, usually in the form of ordinary income tax. As the money grows year after year, you can also get taxed. And then when you take the money out in retirement, you can also get taxed. So three ways you can get taxed: in, growth, and out. One thing that's really nice about both of our retirement buckets we have here is you only pay taxes in one of the three places in both buckets, but they're the opposite. So we'll start with the traditional bucket. This is where I find most people have their retirement dollars, just because of how the system is set up. So things you'll have within this traditional retirement bucket is a 401k. Is the most common. If you work for a nonprofit, you may have like a 403b or a 457b. If you're a business owner and you're looking to set up something through your own business, you could have a SEP IRA or a simple IRA. You can also have a pension in here if you get offered a pension. And then finally, you can have an IRA in here. Now, the difference between an IRA, which is at the bottom, and everything above is an IRA is tied to you as an individual, as a person, and everything else above that is tied to you through an employer, whether it's you being your own employer or an actual employer offering it to you. So that's one distinction I want to mention. Most things in this bucket are tied to you through an employer, and really the IRA is there to almost act as like a landing place. in today's world, more and more people are job hopping, and studies are showing the more job hopping people do, the higher their income tends to be. So it's just becoming more and more popular. So the IRA, again, is a really nice landing place. So as maybe you start somewhere and you have a 401k and then you leave that job and go to a new job and get offered a new 401k, it can be a good idea to take your old 401k that's now managed by your old employer. A lot of people don't love the idea of that. You also just don't have as much control over an old 401k. You can move that into your IRA. And then you start this new job and get a new 401k. And then maybe you're there for 3 or 4 years and then you leave that job and head to a new one. Now you can take that 401k and put it into your already existing IRA. And now they get to combine together, making the fees lower. You still have control over that IRA. And again, that way you don't end up with like 4 to 5 different retirement accounts just floating out there by the time you retire, and maybe you forgot about one or whatever could happen. So the way this bucket is taxed is you don't pay taxes when money goes in or as it grows. You pay your taxes when it comes out to you in retirement. So for example, let's just say, to make numbers simple, if you make $100,000 this year, and it comes time, and you put $10,000 into, I'm just going to use a 401k as an example, but it can be anything in that bucket. So you put $10,000 into your 401k. When it comes time to pay taxes, because you put the $10,000 into your 401k, you're actually only going to pay taxes as if you made $90,000 that year. So again, you get that little nice tax break, and that money within the 401k is invested and ideally is growing for you over a long period of time. It should be growing. Now let's fast forward to your retirement. So now you're retired, you're pulling your money out of this bucket so you can have an income. And let's just say in retirement, you're in a 20% tax bracket, which is pretty conservative compared to our tax brackets today. So we'll just say 20%. How that works is you would have to pull out $120,000 from this bucket. You would write a check to Uncle Sam for $20,000 because you have to pay taxes to net the $100,000 that you want to live off of in your retirement. Any questions or thoughts so far? Actually, I'll do that check-in. Love it. Okay. So that's how that works on the tax standpoint. And that's the traditional bucket for the most part. We can come back to it if necessary. But now let's move over to the left side, this Roth bucket. So one thing is you can have almost all the same things within the Roth bucket that you can the traditional. Not all of it translates exactly. Like for example, there's not often 403Bs or 457Bs over here. You may not have a SEP or a pension over here, but you can have a 401k and a simple IRA over here. And then of course, just an IRA. Thanks, Janice. Have a great rest of your day. Okay, and the way this is taxed, the Roth is taxed, is you pay taxes up front, and then you never have to pay taxes on this money again. So back to our example, if you make $100,000 this year and you put $10,000 into like your Roth 401k, when it comes time to pay taxes, you're still going to be taxed as if you made $100,000. The $10,000 you put into your Roth will not affect your taxes in that year. However, when you fast forward to retirement and you want to live off of $100,000 in retirement, you just pull out the $100,000 from your Roth bucket. It doesn't matter because you've already paid taxes on that money. What's really powerful about that is any growth that happens within your Roth bucket is never ever taxed. And ideally, you have significantly more growth within any investment account you have than what you've put in. So ideally, you put in maybe if you have $100,000, depending on how long it's been in the market, it's great if you could have put in 40,000 and it grew by 60. The longer your money is in the stock market, the more chance it has to grow. A good rule of thumb is called the law of 72, I think it is, or the rule of 72, where just basically over a 10-year period in the stock market, your money should double. So every 10 years, your money should double, which can be really, really powerful. And so the Roth is just taxed the opposite. Any growth that happens, you never pay taxes on. And again, we hopefully have a lot of growth, assuming we have our money invested in good places. Another thing about the Roth IRA, and this is the Roth IRA only on this page, is once you have an account open for more than 5 years, you can actually access your basis. no taxes and no penalties needed. So for example, if you open a Roth IRA this year and you put in $6,000, and let's just say 7 years from now, it's grown by 4,000 for a total of 10. You can access, again, assuming you've had the account open for more than 5 years, you can access the 6,000 you put in or your basis, no taxes, no penalties. If you do try to touch the 4 that you've put in, you will have to pay a 10% penalty plus taxes on that money. And that 10% penalty and taxes is also going to be if you try to access anything on this page besides the Roth IRA before age 59 and a half. That's the magic number set by Congress right now, is that's the number of people they're wanting people to retire by. So your money is tied up quite a bit when you're saving into these retirement buckets. However, again, you get a lot of tax benefits by putting your money into something that is a little bit less liquid than you would a type of savings that's more short term, where you're going to pay a lot more taxes on that money. So there's always pros and cons to the different places you can save and invest. And so if you want to get in more to that, we can definitely talk about it. But specifically for retirement, your money is going to be not necessarily liquid, but again, you're getting a lot of benefits to that. Does anybody have questions on the differences between the two types of retirement buckets, or what is in them exactly? Okay. I have about 10 minutes left. Let's see, what else can I get into? One thing I do also want to point out is, so like, for example, on both of the Roth side and the traditional side, we have a 401k and a simple IRA and an IRA. They can all be invested in the exact same place. Most of these investments are going to be in what's called like a fund, whether it's a mutual fund or an index fund. But they can be invested in the exact same place. It's almost like you have the same gift within these buckets. But it has a different wrapping paper on the outside of the gift, and that wrapping paper is going to determine how that gift is taxed. So sometimes it can be confusing. Also, if you have a Roth 401k at work, or a simple IRA at work, usually how that works is the money you're putting in, like your contributions to your Roth 401k, are going to be on the Roth side. But if you're getting any matching at all, the matching you get will be on the traditional side. So effectively, if you have a Roth 401k, you're actually putting money into both places. I think sometimes that's a misconception that people have. And the reason is because your company, if they're putting a match into this 401k for you, they don't care about getting a write-off later in your own retirement. Like, that doesn't help them at all. So they're going to take the write-off to now, but allow you to choose to write your money off now or like later, basically. So again, you have money in both places when you have a Roth 401k or simple, a Roth symbol. Let's see. If you guys have questions, feel free to just put it in the chat or unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking because I have so much I can talk about. Let me think. Another thing about retirement that I think, so just when it comes to finances in general, and especially in today's world with inflation being really high, it's becoming harder and harder to save and even invest your money. Obviously, as a financial advisor, I'm a big believer in saving and investing. And so one thing I do want to just put into your brain is retirement is the only thing in life people cannot take out a loan for. So I do think it's extremely important that people do have and are prioritizing retirement savings and investing. It's really easy to say, okay, I want to take care of myself today, and future me is going to figure that out. But if we start and plan, and even if it's a small amount on a monthly or annual basis, it's going to make things so much easier for you later. So just, taking the time and having the hindsight to do preparation and planning can really save you a lot of stress and hardship later in life. So that's just one thing to think about. We can definitely get more into the details, but saving and investing is one of the most important things in life. And it's also one of the most easy things to push off and say, you know what, I know I need to be saving and investing. I don't want to take the time to research that right now. I'll do it over the weekend, or I'll do it next month, or I'll do it in the new year, or whatever. And next thing you know, if you've never taken the time to prioritize it, 10 years have gone by, and now you've lost significant time for your money to be growing for you and to be working for you. And so the sooner you can address it, even if you have to start small, the easier things will be for you. It's just, kind of like working out. Like if you only have 10 minutes a day to work out, that's better. And it's going to be significantly better for you over your lifetime than just being like, it's only 10 minutes a day. It doesn't mean much. And, and never working out in your life. So, it's definitely a discipline, but I also think it's something that can be life-changing for people. Just by, again, creating small, daily, monthly, whatever habits. Yeah, so big believer in that, big believer in the stock market. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we have about 6 minutes left. And yeah, there's only a few of us left anyway. So does anybody have any final questions? If not, we can end a few minutes early.
I had a question. So for like business owners, like I guess at what point, like say you don't have any employees, so like how do you save for retirement? Because you don't have like you're not under some other company's 401k. Like what's the most strategic way to like invest your money when it's just you and you own your company?
So if you're wanting to do it through your company, a SEP IRA, especially if you don't ever plan on having employees, it may be the best bet for you, just because it's really easy to set up, super easy to set up and simple, and you can file that through your company. So for example, if you're a sole proprietor and you have a SEP IRA, you can put up to 25% of your gross income, or up to like $50,000 or $60,000 a year. That number goes up every year. And you write it off from your business income. So if your business makes 100,000 and you put 10,000 into your SEP, your business is only taxed as if it made 90 that year. That's funneling it through your business. You have to have an EIN number for that. If you have employees, you can also set up a simple IRA. It's really similar to a 401k, just more simple, which is why it's called a simple. Now, I really only recommend this if your business is to the point where you're paying quite a bit in taxes and you're really, you're really trying to get that tax deduction, but also have some other benefits. If you're not necessarily to that point, I think a Roth IRA is just a great way. I think everybody should have a Roth IRA, because of the tax benefits to you as a person. Like on the traditional side with the SEP and the simple, you get some great tax benefits for your business, but in the grand scheme of things, in the long run, you're going to pay more taxes most likely on the traditional side than you will the Roth. But also, again, it's important for your business to get to write that off. So you can have money in both. You can have a SEP IRA or a simple IRA and a Roth IRA, which I love the idea of because it allows you to have money in both places. I'm a huge believer in diversity. So the more places you have your money, the higher success chance you have. So yeah, so again, from a business owner standpoint, if you're wanting to go through your business, probably a SEP or a simple. Just if you're just a person looking to save more, a Roth IRA.
Thank
Any
you.
other thoughts? Yeah. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? Cool. All right. Well, this was lovely, ladies. I really liked your presentation, Cecilia and Heather, and thanks for being here, Jazz and Ashley. All right. I think we can be done. I'll stick around and make sure nobody else has anything, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.